Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Hillside Garden. And let's just take a look here at my front flower bed. See, it's first week of August. Everything's blooming wonderfully. All the petunias in the background, some dahlias here and there, some coneflowers, some tithonia or Mexican sunflower. Bringing it back around, even more dahlias. You'll kind of see a theme when it comes to dahlias. They're kind of one of my favorite flowers. So, anyways, just kind of pan back over here to some marigolds and some of these, I think it's called pink flowering okra or pink okra flower, even though it's not technically okra. It's a tropical plant that's basically self-seeded in my yard ever since I planted it like 5 years ago. And over here, there's some lemongrass growing in a container and some lavender. Excuse me, not lavender, rosemary right there. There is lavender, but it's back there. You can't see it. This is the tuberose flowering bulb here and some calla lilies everywhere around. So other than just a show and tell, that's not what this is about. It's kind of like gardening has a lot to do with your personality. I think a lot of it comes out in your personality. And as you see this, I mean, I just like having this lush, almost jungle type look. Although it is, manicured. There's no weeds in here because I do deep mulching and composting and everything. So I rarely have to ever pull weeds. But anyways, I like how everything just kind of flows together. How it's just part of just, there's no real formal lines. You don't have any hard edges. You break away from every direction you're looking. You're seeing a different kind of flower. And all around, I think it just suits me as like my personality as a gardener. So what does it say about you and your garden? Are you a very formal gardener? Do you like having straight lines and maybe a mass planting of only one flower or one vegetable or one whatever it might be? Are you super hardcore about pulling weeds? Are you a chemical fertilizer or purely organic? What is it? What does it makes you that gardener? Like what about your personality is reflected in your garden? So I think if you kind of just let go and it's kind of like let your own creativity and your own methodical nature or what it may be. Maybe it's a hands-off garden. Maybe you just like planting some perennials and saying, let them do their own thing. If they want to self-seed, that's cool. If maybe not. Some people might be out there and they're on their hands and knees, feverishly pulling weeds every single day, trying to find, the slightest little thing. They just need to have their hands in it. Some people just want to get their hands dirty and they just have to be out there digging on something, have to be doing something. But I mean, check out these dahlias. I planted them a couple years ago. I've never dug them up, even though they're not technically hardy to the zone, which they've never had any trouble ever, and they come back bigger and stronger every year. So just because someone says you have to dig something up or it's not going to survive, doesn't mean that it's not going to. You did very well may. These coneflowers back there started as one plant, and now they've self-sown everywhere. I believe this was the first coneflower, the purple one here. Well, I just deadheaded a bunch of these old, faded blooms, so they kind of look bare right now, but there will be a second flush, just like I did with that one right there you see in front of you. That had no flowers on it last week because I deadheaded all the old spent blooms off of that, and there's now there's a new flush of blooms. So that being said, but I guess what kind of spurred on this video is 5 houses down from me. We'll call it 4 or 5 houses, it doesn't matter. But in my neighborhood, probably about a mile or two from me, there's a very we'll say stuffy country club that has a garden club as well. All the members are part of a garden club or whatnot. And I've driven by, and in my neighborhood, there's been at least 3 houses that were, quote, the country club, garden club, whatever, yard of the month or some crap like that, right? I'm not part of their country club. It's not what this is about. I'm not jealous. I don't really give a crap about that. But I'm just saying their yards, there's nothing to them. They're just very plain. They're just, neatly manicured, one row of flowers along one side of the front porch or something, and maybe some nice mulch and looks all pretty, but there's really nothing to it. And if I'm not mistaken, at least a couple of these houses that have one, I literally watched them pay landscapers to come and put the stuff in for them. They didn't do any of the yard work themselves. They didn't put the mulch in. They pay people to come cut their grass. To me, it's kind of like, well, I guess if that's your thing, you want to have somebody else come do everything for you. You don't want to have anything, do anything by yourself, but somehow, you have that ego or that pride that's like, oh, look at me, I've won some kind of garden of the month club. I guess it's some kind of prestigious thing with them and their country club and whatever it comes down to it. But, why do you garden? Are you gardening because you're trying to win some yard of the month club because you have that thing where you're trying to compete, you need the recognition or something like that? Not at all. For me, I just like growing plants. You've seen my videos, you've seen what I do. I grow plants because I think it's cool. I like seeing a bunch of different things. Like these right here, these are different kind of like I think it's a double petunia this year. I saw this at the farmer's market. I thought it was really cool, so I had to get that. Um, to me, just watching this grow, something different. I don't think I've ever seen this color. At least I've never grown this color of petunia, so that's really awesome. Um, Bachelor buttons right here. I grew these from seeds. Again, these are those tropical flower things that just come up everywhere, including my sidewalk. I've never had to plant them on purpose. They just keep coming back, coming back, coming back. So now they just become a kind of expect them to be there. So I just plant for them and I just let them grow. You don't have to try to control everything. Sometimes nature will just, do its own thing. It'll grow when it wants to. It's going to produce when it wants to. Sometimes you just let it happen. So zooming in down here, check it out, another petunia. And I just like petunias, I don't know. I like the way they smell, even though they have a very strong pungent smell sometimes, maybe off-putting to some people. Some people have hard feelings about, they just don't like petunias because of the stickiness of the leaves, kind of get the sap on them early in the morning sometimes. You really need to deadhead them, I guess, if you really want to prolong the blooming. I don't, these, because you just never be able to keep up. I mean, just look how many there are. Just trying to spend every day just going through deadheading, you lose your mind because they bloom, last for a couple days, and then, put on new flowers. Maybe you don't want them to self-seed. I mean, good luck. It just depends on what you're willing to put into it, what you're going to get out of it. So, anyways, experiment in your gardens this year. Play around with it, have it fun. But just considering, I think your garden, in a lot of ways, is really an expression of your own personality. Whether it be your creative nature, maybe it's your willingness to start, new seeds or new plants you've never tried before. Maybe you're more of a visual as far as like a flower, like you want to see that pop of the flower. Some people really like vegetation. They want, maybe a neatly manicured hedgerow, or they want, unique variegated leaves on some kind of Japanese grass like I had in the backyard along the fence up there. You've probably seen that. There's a lot of different ways to garden. There's a lot of things you can do to be a great gardener. Just find something that suits your personality and go with it. Don't try to, put the square personality into the round garden. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I'll leave you with that, guys. I just wanted you to kind of get an idea and a perspective of how your personality can be expressed in your garden and how you can make your garden an extension of your personality. Whenever someone says, oh, that outfit or that whatever, oh, that's just so-and-so, whoever they're talking about, your aunt, your sister, your cousin, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, well, that card, that's just, oh yeah, that's totally Joe Smith. Oh, when you think of that brand of something, like, oh, yep, that totally is my aunt's whoever, right? Well, your garden's the same way too. You come in, you see it, and you're like, oh yeah, I can see it now. I can totally see your personality come through. I get it. This garden is the Hillside gardener Dave, right? Like you look at this, you're like, yep, this is totally what I expected when I match his personality to his garden. His love of plants, just plants growing everywhere, everything intertwining, making one big, ecosystem. And it doesn't matter if it's, yard of the month. It doesn't matter if someone's like, well, this looks kind of sloppy or messy, or, I would never put these dahlias in the front and this in the here and this color next to that color. Doesn't matter. Don't care. I think it looks cool. I think I like it. I think it is a true reflection of my personality when it comes to growing things and just how I like to just see things grow. That's just one thing that just brings some joy and happiness to my life and into my my garden especially. So think about that, guys. What makes your garden suit your personality? So leave some comments down below. Tell me some things about your garden. Tell me some things about your farm or your homestead, or if you just have a small balcony with some plants. Tell me what it is about your garden that says something about you. Is it something that maybe your grandmother or your aunt or your mother or someone always had marigolds forever, and maybe you just plant a couple marigolds because it reminds you of your family or someone like that, or maybe you just like the way they smell, or maybe you just like the way they look, or maybe you've killed every other kind of plant you've tried to grow and that's the only thing you haven't killed, so you just keep planting them. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons to pick plants. There's a lot of different reasons to garden, a lot of different reasons to design and how you design. Maybe you don't have a design. Sorry about that, car going by, kind of loud. Another car. It's right about 5 o'clock, so it's probably not the best time. Everyone's getting off work and driving through this kind of a semi-busy intersection there. But like I was saying, think about it. What about your personality comes through in your garden and your gardening or your style of garden? you know, just get some reflection to it. Are you really a really nitpicking, you really truly want to have everything perfect, and that's just how your personality is, because that maybe it's how your job you work at. You have to be really meticulous, and there's no room for errors, whatnot. Maybe you're just really a carefree spirit and just like let it go, plant some random things here, or this look cool, so it's going to go there, and it doesn't really matter why, because it just has to look pretty, and that's the only reason you're growing it. That's a perfectly fine explanation. So don't let anybody tell you that how you garden is wrong, or tell you how what you plant shouldn't you plant, you shouldn't plant it there, or it's not going to survive in this zone, so you're wasting your time, or whatever it is. Make sure your garden makes you happy. Make your garden suit your personality. Okay, guys, hope you've liked what you've seen. Please give it a thumbs up. It means an awful lot to me. If you want to check out more videos, subscribe. Try to at least do one video, maybe 2 per week, depending on the summertime and the season. Sometimes it gets busy, but you know how that goes. So anyway, guys, this is Dave, your hillside gardener, signing off from the front garden. I'm going to get back to enjoying my flowers and my flower bed in this warm summer evening. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time here on the hillside. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, guys, bye-bye.